Welcome, friends, to the Denver Roller Dome. Thank you for joining us on our live stream at your one and only Denver Roller Dome, your home of Denver Roller Derby and Rocky Mountain Roller Derby. This is our October 25th bout. We got a doubleheader here for you tonight, leading into our 6 p.m. Mountain Time game with our juniors playing roller derby. I'm going to take you through the rosters before we get started. For our vampires in our white team, we have 1-0 Sid Vicious, 1-1-3 Slasher, 1-4 Hizzle, 1-6-0 Rosa Lethal, 2-5 Pixie Stick, 2-7 Starstruck, 3-1 Trick or Treat, 3-5-3 Beetle Kill, 4 Killer Bee, 4-6-2 Barracuda, 5-0 Poltergeist, 5-5 Axel Rolls, 6-1-6 El Diablo, and 6-2-6 Stitch. For the Navy team, which are our zombies, we have 0-9 Radioactive, 1-1 Painbow, 2-2 Catatomic Bomb, 3-1-3 Black Diamond, 3-3 Full Tilt, 3-6-5 Phoenix, 5-1-5 Kit Kat, 6 Dire Wolf, 6-1-3 Skatanic Panic, 6-3-0 Dale Force Wind, 7-2 Storm, 7-3 Starface, 7-3-7 Juggernaut, and 8-9 Taco Cat. First jam is already in the books. We see the white team there with the lead jammer coming around for that turn 3 pack, getting ready to make those hits. White team setting up for some offense. Gonna clear that jammer through up until that last blocker up on turn 3. Black jammer is in the, Navy, Jammer is in the box, and 5-5 Axel Rolls is through for point scoring, going in for a second bout. Coming up against some blockers there, and Axel is back, Blue Jammer is back in. They have called the jam, and we're heading straight into jam 2. Wanted to shout out our coaches as well. We have Scare Bear, Darth, D-Rex, and Rover. Love y'all, and thank you for keeping our kiddos safe and happy. We got skaters lining up for jam 2 here, and it looks like they just traded a blocker for a nice split pack start. And there is the whistle for jam 2. We got both jammers trying to get through their blockers. And that is number 3 Full Tilt with lead jammer for the zombies. Number 4 Killer Bee is out of the pack for the white team, leading into a point scoring lap. And Full Tilt called the jam before Killer Bee could score any points, coming away with, I think that's 3 points there for ya. Lining up for jam 3, we have the zombie team taking the front of the pack. And there is that 5-second call for ya. Got a front heavy pack here with these kiddos starting. For our zombie jammer, we've got 3-6-5 Phoenix. And Blue Pivot being called to the box for a direction penalty. Packs kind of spread out. Still have the white jammer, 1-6-0. Rosa Lethal fighting to get that scoring, or fighting for that initial pass. And Phoenix just sails on by for a second scoring pass coming up. Rosa Lethal out of the pack, getting their initial pass completed. They can go in for scoring now. And Phoenix is coming up for that second scoring pass into the pack at turn 3. You can see some of our officials here have some costumes on. We are almost in Halloween time, so they're wearing some capes. We've got some feather on their helmet. And the jam was called off. Heading into jam 4 here. scooting on back to give the Jammers not a lot of room to work with. Got some offense attempted up front, but we've got for the Zombies 3-1-3. Black Diamond completing their initial pass first and starting their scoring pass. And they have completed that scoring pass, going in for round 2. White Jammer in the back, still fighting for that initial. And Diamond scoots right. Oh, is going back for a recycle, actually. And gets through on that second attempt for another 4 points for the Zombies. Pack's not doing too much movement here. Both Jammers are recycling back now. Now the blue Jammer was able to cut one of their teammates. You are allowed to do exactly one teammate getting position in front of them. 3-1-3 out of the pack for another scoring pass. Killer Bee is still fighting in the back against that really strong tripod. Meanwhile, Black Diamond is out of another scoring pass, another 4 points. And they have called off that jam. Wanted to thank our officials as always. This game would not exist without you. You'll notice we have quite a number of them here on the track. This is to make sure that everyone has a safe, fair, and fun game. And jam has started. For the Zombies, we have 7-3 Starface jamming. And for the Vampire team, we have 6-2-6 Stitch. Both Jammers still fighting hard against those, and 7-3 Starface is out for lead Jammer. Stitch is still fighting their way through that pack. Zombies here have some really strong tripods. Able to make room for their Jammer. Oh, and a quick little star pass attempt, except it was to the other team. It's all right, we got it back, and we're continuing on to play some gorgeous derby. Pack moving into turn 3 here. Starface has been fighting for that scoring pass, and they get it. You'll see a couple of the officials tapping their head here. That means that there was a star pass. So the pivot, white pivot, I cannot see their number off the top of my head, received the star helmet cover and became the Jammer. However, Starface called the jam, and we are setting up for the next one already. We have some folks in the stream here. If you wanted to get in that chat, let us know where you're tuning in from. I can give you a little shout out whenever. Thanks for being here. We really appreciate it. Lining up for the next jam here, and we got it started. Ooh, some great offense off that outside line for White. 1-1-3. That is Slasher. He has gotten out of the pack and been awarded lead Jammer. Ooh, little tumble there, but we're still in. Fighting up against a couple blockers and out for a scoring pass. We've got 6-3-0 over there for the Zombie team. That is Dale Forest Wind. They are fighting real hard against those really strong blockers, making a lot of good moves and recycling back behind. White pivot reporting to the box, and that is 1-1-3 Slasher out for another scoring pass. Lining up for a potential star pass on the Zombies team, but the Vampires are just chugging along with Slasher. He has gotten another, and he will call off the jam. You'll see those Jammers that have been assigned lead Jammer. Their official that is trailing alongside them on that inside line is pointing at them the entire time. That tells you and them who is lead Jammer. Now, if you have lead Jammer, you're able to successfully call off that jam. If you don't have lead Jammer, you will not be able to call off the jam, and it makes us all very sad to see it. And lining up for another jam, we have just begun. We have 3-3 for the Zombies. That is full tilt. And, oh gosh, their numbers are faded off their arms already. I cannot see who that white jammer is off the top of my head. Looks like, oh, it is 1-6-0. That is going to be Rosalethal jamming for the Vampires. Pivot getting in out of the box to help Rosalethal out. They make a lot of good progress and complete that initial pass, but just in time for full tilt to get out of the pack, score 4 points, and call off the jam. Wanted to let y'all know that we do have another doubleheader coming up in roughly a month. It's going to be November 22nd. We're going to have another juniors game to begin and then also get into some home teams. We have 3 home teams here at Denver Roller Derby. We have the Bad Apples, the Orange Crushers, and the Grapes of Wrath. 2 of those teams are going to be fighting it out at our next November 22nd game. All right, we have 3-6-5 here for the Zombies. That is Phoenix, who has been awarded a lead jammer. And we have 5-5 Axle Rolls for the Vampire, completing their initial pass. Phoenix sees it and calls off the jam. You can do that calling off very strategically. Phoenix saw that the other jammer had gotten out of the pack and said, I do not want them to score any more points. And so they're going to call it off. That was very good eyes on Phoenix's part. I remember when they first started. It's been amazing to watch them grow and flourish as a skater. Honestly, all of these kids have been making amazing progress over the last couple years that we've been watching them play. And they should be very proud of themselves. Oh, that is 3-1-3 Black Diamond for the Zombies getting lead jammer. And 1-1-3 Slasher close behind, having completed that initial pass. Pack into Jam 2, and Black Diamond hits that wall of white blockers. And both jammers are struggling to get through the pack. The first successful one is 1-1-3 Slasher, scoring those 4 points. And 3-1-3 Black Diamond right behind them, calling off the jam and getting ready to start in the next one. So that was an even 4-4 jam. Lining up on that jam line over there, we've got 7-3 Starface and 4, I believe that is 4 Killer B for the Vampires team. And that is 4 Killer B for lead jammer. Took some offense on that inside line, scooted on through. A little bit of chaos in the pack here. Starface looking like they might want to pass the star onto their pivot and successfully did so. That was smooth. Now we have, I believe that is 09 Radioactive. Yes, it is. They are now the jammer for the Zombies team. But Killer B saw them coming up and called off the jam before they could score any points, getting 3 points in there and preventing the other team from scoring. I believe we're heading into Jam 11 now. Yep, you can see on the top right of your screen where it says J10. That was the jam that just happened. So now we're heading into Jam 11. Blockers lining up at the top of the straightaway there. And the jam has begun. That is 6-3-0. Gale Force win for the Zombies, getting out of the pack, but they are not assigned lead jammer, completing their initial pass. We have 5-5 Axle Rolls also fighting for that initial pass, heading into turn 2 here. Now sometimes you'll see this happen where the jammer gets out of the pack first, but for some reason or another, they're not assigned lead. Now that can have something to do with them passing their other teammates. and it not counting, or in certain cases, the other blocker on the other team will knock them out of bounds. But you can see that that official is not pointing at them. So they are not lead jammer, and they're not able to call off the jam. Looks like unless this white jammer gets out, we are going to have a 2-minute jam. 6-3-0 out of the pack for a scoring pass again. And 5-5 is assigned lead jammer, and they call it off. Now, I may have missed something there, because Battleland may have been pointing at them. That is the jam official who is watching the white team there, and I just didn't see it. But you could see poor Little Delforce Wind trying to call off the jam and not being able to do so. They were not lead. Heading into jam 12 now. We have 4 Killer B for the Vampires jamming. A quick and decisive lead jammer assigned to them. Still in the pack is 3-3 Full Tilt. They are juking side to side, trying to get around these powerful blockers, trying to get that first pass attempt. And Killer B gets out of the pack once again to start scoring. That is 4 points for the Vampires. Full Tilt still in the back of the pack, fighting for that initial pass, and you saw a gorgeous apex jump there from Killer B to score those next 4 points. Making a little progress over there with a little spin move for Full Tilt here. And they have completed their initial pass, but Killer B is already in the packet, and so is points again. Pack has moved into turn 3. Full Tilt tries to gain a little speed to score some points. Killer B sees them and calls the jam off. Heading into jam 13. And jam 13 has begun. We've got 0-9 for the Zombies radioactive jamming and 1-6-0 for the Vampires. Rosa Lethal gaining some ground up top, but unfortunately fallen right out of bounds and having to be recycled all the way back. Smart blockers. Got Stitch in there doing some offense for Rosa Lethal. Trying to create some holes that this jammer can then take advantage of. But up top of the pack, we have 0-9 radioactive for lead jammer. Heading into the pack for their scoring pass. Rosa Lethal does make it out of the pack for their initial pass. Going to attempt to gain some speed and score some points. Both jammers in the pack now, struggling a little bit through those powerful blockers. Pack is into turn 3. Both jammers are still fighting. And it looks like our lead jammer called off the jam for a 4-3 point differential in that last scoring pass. Jam 14 coming up here. Everyone's been doing a great job of having a relatively penalty-free game. We haven't had too many folks reporting to the box. We got the pivots playing with the pivot line up on the front there. Ooh, that's a tight pack. We've got 3-1-3 Black Diamond for the Zombies and 2-7 Starstruck for the Vampires. Hadn't seen 2-7 come out to jam before, but here they are getting lead jammer. Black Diamond completing their initial pass and heading in to score some points. Starstruck making their way through the pack, trying to score some points. Calls it off. Just in time for that blue jammer to get, I believe, 1 point. And Starstruck herself, let's see, I can read. Starstruck herself scored a point as well, so a 1-1 finish for that jam. Got another jammer matchup we've seen before tonight. We have 7-3 Starstruck, nope, I can't read. 7-3 Starface for the Zombies, and number 4 Killer B for the Vampires. Up at the top of the pack, Killer B gets out and is awarded lead jammer. Starstruck is still in the back, trying to fight against those there to get out of the pack. So close, and then goes down in the apex. Has to turn around, circle all the way back, start scoring. Got the zombie pivot reporting to the box. So unfortunately, Starface will not be able to pass that star along until their pivot is out of the box. These blockers are acting like magnets to the jammer, staying nice and close, making sure that there's not a lot of room that they can get to get some forward momentum. There goes Killer B out of the pack for another 4-point pass. Starface getting nice and low, trying to get through that tripod, but it is very powerful. Pivot comes up, tries to make a hole, and there goes Killer B with another 4 points. They successfully pass to the star to 2-2 Catatomic Bomb. They are now our jammer. Killer B sees that star pass though and decides to call it. Lining up for Jam 16. Now you'll see both pivots. Those are the skaters with these stripes on their helmet, putting their toe right on that line. That is called the pivot line, and they are the only ones who are allowed to make contact with it. There's some more associated with that ruling, but I will get into that after this jam, maybe. Let's see, we've got, I believe that is 6-3-0 Dale Force Wind jamming for the Zombies, and 2-5 Pixie Stick jamming for the Vampires. Oh, Dale Force Wind catching a hip on that outside line, having to recycle back. Both jammers are still fighting for lead to get out of their initial immediately. And the white jammer has to go to the box for a cut track penalty. Typically that means that they had to go to the box to serve. Oh, but they called it back, and the white jammer is back on. And they get through the pack quite quickly to be awarded lead jammer. Great job, Pixie Stick. You can see her trying to gain some speed there. Going to go hit those blockers and try and score some points now. Dale Force Wind is still getting through, trying to make their way out for their initial pass so that they can start scoring. And Pixie Stick has made their way up to the front. Got some offense, trying to clear a hole. And it is unsuccessful. They take a bit and have to recycle back to the back of the pack. Dale Force Wind out of the pack for their initial pass, but they are going to get called on a cut track penalty and have to report to the box. Pixie Stick recycling to the back again, trying to make sure that they're scoring those points. You see their team doing a bunch of offense, but Pixie Stick says, I do not want to anymore, and calls off the jam, giving her team a power start to begin with. This means that the zombie jammer is in the box, unable to score. So that gives the white jammer all of the time in the world, well, all of the time in the 30-second penalty allotment to try and score. We've got white 5-5 Axel rolls, getting out of the pack pretty quickly and being assigned lead jammer. You can see the Vampire team lining up to try and perform some offense, get Axel out of the pack quickly and get those 4 points scored. Pretty successful towards that turn 3, and Axel is out and ready to score again. Dale Forest Wind is out of the pack, or out of the box, excuse me, and coming back in to try and get that initial pass, I believe. Axel's out again. Another 4 points on the books. Some fancy footwork on the inside line there. And Axel is out for another 4 points. Dale Forest Wind still in the back of that pack, trying to get past that powerful tripod of blockers. Sees an opening, passes over on the outside line and gets on through for that initial pass. But Axel saw it and said, we're going to call the jam there. They were awarded 3 points to end that last scoring pass. Got a couple folks in the chat cheering on Axel. We're very proud of them. Thank y'all for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Got some jammer on jammer action happening behind that jam line over there. It's all in good fun. We all practice together. That's what makes these games as fun as they are. Pack scoots up. We've got number 3-3 Full Tilt jamming for the Zombies, and 1-1-3 Slasher jamming for the Vampires. This is jam 18 with 4 minutes left in the period. Slasher has gotten out of the pack first for lead jammer. They will be able to start getting into the pack and scoring those points just about now. Full Tilt has taken that star off, trying to get some potential passing opportunities to their pivot, but their pivot is in that tripod blocking, choosing defense over potentially becoming the jammer. Full Tilt's creating some space in the pack, hanging on to that outside line. Slasher takes a pretty good fall, calls off the jam, and we're heading into jam 19. Jam 19 just about to begin. We've got for the Vampire team, that is 626 Stitch. But number 6, Dire Wolf for the Zombies, gets out of the pack first for lead jammer. Stitch is right behind them though, coming in for that scoring pass. Ooh, a quick pass on the inside line for Dire Wolf and calls off the jam for 4 points. Just a quick little one there. We've got less than 2.5 minutes in the first period here. Want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors for 187 Killer Pads. Often intimidated, never duplicated, stick with the best. The Pro Derby knee from 187 Killer Pads brings patented features, unmatched ergonomic fit, and industrial strength materials. Go ahead and give them a look-see. All right, Jam 20 has begun. We've got number 365, Phoenix for the Zombies, out of the pack first for lead jammer. Got number 4, Killer B, fighting in the back for that initial pass to happen. Phoenix is already back around and scoring. Oh, Killer B gets knocked off the inside line, recycling back, having to fight those blockers all over again. Making their way up front. Phoenix got knocked to the inside line and is back into the back for their scoring pass. And Killer Bee makes it out of the pack for their initial pass. They can start scoring now. Phoenix calls it off after fighting towards the front of the pack, but not in time to not let the white team score. That is 2 points for the Vampires there, and 4 for the Zombies. Got a score of 84-62, Vampires to Zombies right now. I can tell you that the coaches do a really great job of trying to make these teams as even as possible, skill level wise, so that it's, again, a safe, fun, and fair game. That whistle blows, and we are into Jam 21 now. We've got 3-1-3 for the Zombies. Black Diamond out of the pack for lead jammer. Got 3-5-3 Beetle Kill up for the Vampires. Haven't seen them jam yet tonight, but they're making their way on through. Black Diamond's coming up in the pack, though, is trying to score. One more blocker to get around, and Beetle Kill completes their initial pass. But Black Diamond is already out of the pack, scoring and calling off the jam. Giving another 4 points to the Zombies. That is intermission there, folks. Gonna do another shout out real fast. We'll shout out our lovely Skate Rats Skate Shop, located in downtown Loveland. Very excited to see return of roller derby in Colorado. A proud longtime sponsor of Denver Roller Derby, Skate Rats is a one-stop shop for all things skate. Check out their wide variety of products, from custom skates to safety gear to skateboards and clothing. With over 10 years of experience, the Skate Rats staff is friendly and knowledgeable in helping you find or build whatever you may need. I can absolutely confirm this. Check out skaterats.com, SK8RATZ.com, for a great selection of product and speedy shipping services to anywhere worldwide. Visit their retail store in Loveland for a smooth and enjoyable shopping experience. All right, folks, we will see you back here in just a few minutes. Welcome back, fam. We are heading into the second period of our juniors game for the Denver Roller Derby doubleheader. Got 5 seconds left in the intermission, and you can see skaters already lining up. Before we get started, I wanted to give one more shout out for Collectivum Sports. This is our company that makes all of our lovely jerseys. Collectivum Sports is dedicated to providing you with top quality custom gear that elevates your performance and showcases your passion for this thrilling sport. Visit cvmsports.com for all of your jersey needs. Heading into Jam 1 of Period 2, we have 7-3 Starface lining up at the Jam line, in addition to, oh gosh, I cannot see their numbers. Hold. 2-7 is going to be Starstruck. So we got Starface and Starstruck jamming. Starface gets out of the pack first to be assigned lead jammer, beginning that scoring pass. Starstruck fighting along in the middle of that pack, trying to find a hole to make their initial pass complete. Starface is already coming up and started scoring points, and Starstruck is out of the pack. Starface sees Starstruck coming up and calls off the jam for 2 points for the Zombies. That is our Navy team. Got both pivots lining up at that pivot line. As a reminder, they are the ones with the stripes on their helmet covers and the only ones who can go ahead and touch that top line. You can see their skates on them. We've got 626 Stitch for the Vampires jamming for this jam, and 3-3 for the Zombies. Full Tilt. Full Tilt is finding a little more traction and ends up getting out of the pack for lead jammer. Stitch recycles to the back and tries again for that initial pass. Full Tilt is up into the pack for their scoring pass. They've gotten one already against that pivot. And they're trying to fight around this dynamic tripod, finding a hole. Skips over a leg and is out for 4 points. Stitch has their star cover in their hand, looking for their pivot, seeing if they could pass. And Full Tilt is up into the pack again for another scoring pass. Stitch is trying their best, trying to work their way up. Still fighting for that initial pass. Pack's all the way into turn 3. They're very far away. And Full Tilt gets recycled into the back by, I believe that was Trick or Treat. Very powerful blocker, but they find a hole on that inside line in turn 4 and get through for another 4 points. Stitch coming up on that outside line, but gets knocked out by the blocker, having to recycle once again. And the same thing happened to Full Tilt, once again by Trick or Treat. Got a little game of chicken being played in the back there, but Full Tilt is back onto the track and scoring. There goes Stitch for another attempt at getting through this very powerful tripod. You can see Slasher, their white pivot, heading up to try and take the star, trying to get into a good position. Full Tilt heading all the way up to the front. And that is the jam. Great efforts by everyone here. I love those butterfly wings. Such a cute cape, and what a great idea to do officiating, and it doesn't really get in the way of you calling your penalties. Lining up for Jam 3, we have 09 Radioactive and 160 Rosalethal lining up off the track. Ooh, got a little jammer on jammer action right off the top. But it does not stop Rosalethal from fighting their way all the way up to the front of the pack. Got a little offense from Pixie Stick here. But unfortunately, it was in the wrong direction, so they're going to be heading to the box. But that does create enough of a distraction for Rosalethal to get out of the pack and get that lead jammer status. 09 Radioactive is doing some fancy footwork on that outside line, trying to get all the way through. Oh, and a quick knock off by 616. I can't read. El Diablo for great defensive maneuver, having to recycle Radioactive all the way to the back again. Rosalethal coming up on that pack for a scoring pass, pushing their way all the way up to the front. And there goes Radioactive for their initial pass. They'll be able to begin scoring now. You can see them putting that star right back on their helmet, but Rosalethal saw it and called off the jam first. I love that Phoenix's laces match being a phoenix. It's a gorgeous orange to red ombre. Very cute. Got skaters lining up for Jam 4 here. We've got 113 Slasher for the Vampires. And number 6, Dire Wolf for the Zombies team. The score is currently 92-80, Vampires to Zombies. Dire Wolf making their way towards the front of the pack there, trying to get around some of these blockers, and makes it through to be assigned lead jammer. Slasher is still fighting his way in the back there, but they're lining up for maybe a star pass. You can see their pivot right next to him. Dire Wolf is already back in the pack for a scoring pass, but gets an illegal contact penalty and has to report to the box. Unfortunately, that means this will be a 2-minute jam. Slasher is still fighting his way up. Finds a way on that inside line. Oh, thinks his foot came out and recycles back for more. We've got 45 seconds left in this jam. Both jammers are going to have to fight it out until those whistles blow. But Dire Wolf is already back out on the track, ready to score some more points. Quick star pass from Slasher over to 4-6-2. That is Barracuda is now our jammer for the Vampires. Dire Wolf sneaks away on that inside line. Scores another 4 points, as does Barracuda on the outside. Found a way, found the 4 points. Dire Wolf through for another 4 points, and that is the jam. An eventful one at that. Coming away with another 2 points from Barracuda there. And we are heading into Jam 5. Lining up on the jam line, we've got for the Zombies 313 Black Diamond. We've seen them quite a lot here jamming, as well as number 4 Killer B, a returning duo. And the jam starts and they're off. It's my favorite thing about seeing jammers. They're all fun and games until the whistles blow and then it's on. Killer B out of the pack first for lead jammer, coming around with a lot of speed. Black Diamond still struggling against that really dynamic tripod. Got some fancy footwork, but it is not enough to not go out of bounds. Recycling all the way back, and it's back to the grind against that tripod. Killer B is out of the pack for 4 points. Ooh, that was close on that inside line. Trick or Treat with another powerful hit there. But it is not enough to keep Black Diamond from scoring. Killer B calls off the jam, and that was Jam 5. We're currently sitting at 106-88. Jam 6 coming up. We've got 160 Rosa Lethal for the Vampires. And I believe that is 630 Dale Force Wind for the Zombies. Rosa Lethal found a hole, is making their way up, but gets hit out on the outside line. And it is Dale Force Wind for the lead jammer. Pack is into turn 2 now as Rosa Lethal is still trying to find a way through those zombie blockers. Dale Force Wind doing a little jiggy-jaggy from side to side there. You can see both jammers are really struggling to get through this pack. But Rosa Lethal finds a hole on the inside line and gets through for their initial pass. They're able to start scoring now. I bet that Dale Force Wind's coaches are going to tell them to call it off pretty quickly. You can hear their parent on the side telling them to do the same. Rosa Lethal coming up for that scoring pass, though. We are not calling off the jam just yet. We're still playing derby, and you love to see it. Pack is now into turn 3, and White 110 gets called on, I believe, a destruction of Pack. Dale Force Wind heading through for another 4 points, and Rosa Lethal attempting another recycle back and push forward. Might be a little bit easier now that each team has one blocker in the penalty box. Dale Force Wind on the outside line, finding another 4 points. And Rosa Lethal coming up on the inside, but is met by one of the zombie blockers. And that is the jam. Oh, right at the end, it looks as though Rosa Lethal got called on a penalty, and it is unfortunately going to be a power start. Look at Starface, she knows it, doing a little dancey dance. We're heading into Jam 7 now. Score is 110 to 96. Vampires are still leading, but that point lead is getting a little bit closer. Point spread, that's the word I was looking for. Everyone racing around, trying to make sure that Starface does not pass us. Woo! Little balancing tricks here. Rosa Lethal is standing from the box. That means they have 10 seconds left in their penalty, and they're going to be coming around to try and get through this pack. These blockers are just incredible tonight. You can see the tripod formation that we always have going on. One person in the front holding on to 2 in the back. Rosa Lethal makes their way up on the outside line, but unfortunately finds a little bit of a hitch and has to recycle back one more time. Tripod formation again, we're fighting against it, trying to get through those middle 2 blockers, but they're being supported by someone up front, and it makes it so challenging. One of the zombie blockers, in fact, the pivot, is heading into the box. And Rosa Lethal is still in the back trying to fight their way through. They find a hole and make it out of the pack. They've been assigned lead jammer from there. So they'll be able to call off the jam once they score a couple of points, hopefully. Starface, number 7-3, getting a penalty for, I believe, a cut track. Yep, you can see that little cross that the official is making with their hands. That means that they had cut the track. Usually that means that they re-entered ahead of someone who was in front of them when they left the track in the first place. It's complicated, but these rules exist because you can't just jump out of bounds and jump back in bounds whenever you like. Rosa Lethal coming up for another scoring pass, gets through without a sweat, looks to their coach and then calls off the jam. So now the Vampires are starting with a power start. That is number 5-5, Axel Rolls, lining up on the jam line. The whistle blows. We are into Jam 8 now, and Axel's going to try and find some holes to get through in order to get that lead jammer assigned, but Starstruck is already back on the track from their penalty. And now it is anyone's game. Starstruck gets out first and is assigned lead jammer, but Axel is trying to scoot around all of their teammates, gets through and completes that initial pass with just enough time for Starstruck to already be up and in that scoring pass. They get through for 4 points, call off the jam after seeing their coaches tell them to do so. That is another 4 points for the Vampires. Lining up on the jam line, we've got another duo that we have seen before. We have for the Vampires, 626 Stitch and 3-3 Full Tilt. This is a duo I like to watch. They're both tiny but mighty, something I relate to. And that is Jam 9 getting started here. You can see some offense up top with Trick or Treat, and then meets Full Tilt exactly where they're at, giving Full Tilt the lead jammer status. Stitch is fighting their way through, finds a little hole and gets through for their initial pass, but Full Tilt is already bearing down on the pack. For a scoring pass. Took a little hit, but they're back up and raring to go. Stitch is also in the pack for a scoring pass, and that is 4 points for Stitch for the Vampires. Both teams now have 100 points at least, and it is a 22-point game. Jammer calls it off, and we have 3 points for the Zombies and no points in that last scoring pass for the Vampires. Lining up for Jam 10, we have number 2-5 for the Vampires. That is Pixie Stick, and 09 Radioactive for the Zombies. I gotta say, I can't say that name without thinking of the Imagine Dragons song. Oh, little jammer on jammer action off the whistle. The Pixie Stick is right back up. Pixie Stick catching a little hit on that inside line and having to recycle back. Radioactive is doing the same, but on the outside line. White blockers recycling them all the way back, and Radioactive's taking that inside line, trying to get some speed, and finds another blocker. You can see 113 trying to create some offensive opportunity for Pixie Stick. And it works. They get out and are assigned lead jammer. This has been a real clean game from our juniors here. Always very proud of them, but even more so when they play to the best of their ability. Penalties get you off the track, which means you are not useful to your team. So we love to see a clean game. Pixie Stick up on top, catches another blocker and has to recycle back one more time. Radioactive, same thing on that outside line, and twofer. And you can see some offense there from 1-1 Painbow. And Radioactive was back on the track. Pixie Stick making their way through. Oh, runs into the other jammer. Unfortunate. And gets called on a penalty. Having to report to the box for that 30 seconds. This means that Radioactive is going to be able to take a lot of opportunity to start scoring. Vampire blockers are really good today, though, creating a lot of obstacles for Radioactive to try and get out of that pack. Like right there where they hit off the track, recycle all the way back. And that is a 2-minute jam with Pixie Stick in the box. We're going to be starting with an advantage for the Zombies. We've got Phoenix 365 lining up for them. And you can see the Zombies plotting something. They're all in a line on the inside there. Current pod for the Vampires are discussing what to do. I guess they're going to race. Yep. Phoenix with a little apex jump on that inside line all the way through, and a lead jammer very quickly, less than 10 seconds. It's amazing how fast these athletes move. Phoenix coming in for another scoring pass at full speed, but was assessed a cut track penalty, so they're going to have to hustle all over to the box, giving Pixie Stick an opportunity to find a hole and get all the way through. Completing their initial pass means Pixie Stick is able to start scoring now. And you can see the Vampire team lining up to do some kind of offense. What they're usually trying to do here is either some person-on-person offense or just create enough chaos that the blockers don't have time to regroup, which is exactly what happened there, and Pixie Stick is out for 4 points for the Vampires. We've got Phoenix and their other teammates standing in the box, meaning they are almost ready to stop, and they are back on the track for some action. Pixie Stick all the way at the top of the pack trying to get some scoring points in, but Phoenix is fighting their hardest to get their way through. And they find it. Just kidding, they got a forearm penalty on their way through. You hate to see it. Pixie Stick is still in the middle of the pack, making their way, I almost just wanted to say making their way downtown. But making their way on the outside line, finding some more blockers, but trying to make their way through. These blockers have been really effective, and there goes Pixie Stick for another 4 points. You'll notice these blockers are way more effective when they are together, which is why a lot of the times with this kind of offense, you'll see them trying to create some chaos, trying to separate their teammates. And that is the jam. Score is now at 133 Vampires to 103 Zombies. We've got less than 10 minutes in the second period. All right, lining up on that jam line, we've got for the Vampires, Axel Rose, and for the Zombies, Painbow. Both jammers making their way to the front, but Painbow is out first for lead jammer, with Axel not far behind them. But gosh, Painbow can work up some speed and is already attempting to get some points. Cute little apex jump, calling off the jam, and that's all she wrote. That was Jam 12, heading into Jam 13. Once again, I want to give a shout out to all of our officials here tonight. The game would not continue without them. And they have to be very knowledgeable of gameplay, what kind of penalties, what actions constitute what. And we love them dearly. We've got 7-3 Starface again jamming, as well as 1-1-3 Slasher. Both jammers are trying to fight their way through the pack and encountering some really heavy defense. Sometimes when watching Derby, it feels like your head's moving in a circle, and then other times it feels like you're just standing still. And depending on the matchup with jammers and blockers, you can get both in the same jam. Slasher at the top finds a fall, but makes it through. Remaining inbounds for lead jammer. Starface is just absolutely stuck at the back as Slasher goes through the pack for another 4 points. Now they attempt a star pass here, but the blue pivot is unfortunately called on a penalty, and then the jam gets called off. Official timeout is called, so I'm going to do a couple sponsorship shout-outs. November James Realtor is a multi-award-winning, top-producing real estate broker. Over the past decade, she has successfully guided hundreds of clients through buying, selling, and investing. She prides herself on communication, dedication, and trust. When you combine November's real estate experience with her extensive training, you will agree the solution is clear. November James is your agent for your real estate needs. She's also a teammate of ours and a lovely human, even when she is sending the airborne. Got the pack starting to line up towards the front there, discussing some strategy while the officials are discussing amongst themselves. We've got a full crowd in here tonight, which is just lovely to see. I love our home here at the Roller Dome, here on the south side of Denver. Would you like to become a sponsor? We offer flexible sponsorship levels with opportunities for special events, promotional appearances, free game tickets, advertising, and more. You can go ahead and email sponsorship@denverrollerderby.org. And and we will definitely get back to you. Once again, wanted to shout out that we have another game coming up. We try and host these about once a month. So our next doubleheader is going to be on November 22nd. The first game is almost always going to be our juniors game, like you're seeing here right now, followed by one of our home team games. We have 3 home teams here at Denver Roller Derby: Grapes of Wrath, Bad Apples, and Orange Crushers. 2 of those teams are going to be going head-to-head in our 8 o'clock adults game on November 22nd. Same bat time, same bat channel. Revolutionizing roller derby safety with cutting-edge helmet technology and unrivaled fit options. Stay protected with 888. Officials are still discussing amongst themselves. Sometimes you'll find these longer timeouts happening because they have to assess something that happened in those last games. They take their jobs very seriously, and we thank them for it. They are here to keep us safe, fun, and fair roller derby happenings at all times. These folks donate their time willingly. There is all volunteer work. We make sure to feed them, of course, but they are happily volunteering their time, and it's a really powerful thing that they do, so we want to make sure and thank them appropriately. And it's really a donation of time and experience, right? They come to our Wednesday night scrimmages and practice with us. Sometimes they'll have us run jam scenarios just to make sure that they're seeing what needs to be seen. And so say, hey, can you try and do this for us? And we can try and assess what'll happen, which we're happy to do so. It makes everything fun for everyone. We also want to thank our volunteers here tonight, from running merchandise tables to running our gorgeous bar in the corner over there, from volunteering as medics to checking your tickets at the door and putting wristbands on. These games are truly a team effort. And we wanted to thank everyone for making roller derby the lovely sport that it is. Sometimes you'll see folks, oh, we got a cute little circle happening in the corner over there. Well, that's dangerous on that part of the track. It's a little, the concrete is not completely flat right there. But I always like to remind folks, especially when they're just starting at roller derby, these kids have been skating a very long time. They're extremely talented, very dedicated to do what they do, and you can see that showing up even in their silliest of moments. That's part of what I love about this sport. We don't take ourselves we don't take ourselves too seriously. And they're still going. Ooh, final pose, and they're back on the bench. I hope no one's dizzy from that. I always tell my friends that when we talk about playing roller derby that we're adults, or in this case, children, that strap roller skates on our feet and beat the crap out of each other for fun. So it's inherently a little bit of a silly sport. Have some movement on the outside of the track, and it looks like we may be ready to begin coming up here pretty soon. If you want to get involved with Denver Roller Derby, we have a bunch of different roles here that you can take part in. You can see our off-skates officials, our on-skates officials, our skaters, our volunteers. Every position is needed and loved. If you would like to join, you can go ahead and email join@denverrollerderby.org. Remember, that is a .org, not a .com. I made that mistake when I first joined. And we'd be happy to try and find a place for you. You can also keep up to date on all of our social media platforms for when our new recruit nights are, and we'll be happy to tell you about how you can partake in the game of roller derby. We're back on for Jam 14. We have 630 for the Zombies, which is Dale Force Wind, as well as 626 Stitch. But Dale Force Wind finds just a little line on that outside line and collects the lead jammer status. Stitch has some offense with Killer B up there, trying to get them out of the pack. And taking off that star to maybe pass it to the pivot, potentially. Dale Force Wind coming back up on that inside line and starting to score. That is 4 points for the Zombies. Stitch passes that star successfully to 1-0. Sid Vicious. Woo! An attempted last hit from that blocker off the top, and it is not successful. Sid is coming around with a lot of speed towards that pack in turn 3. Fancy footwork all the way through, finds a hole on the inside line, pushing their way up to the top. They've got 2 blockers left for Sid. And that was their full 4 points assigned for Sid Vicious, as well as 4 points for the Zombies. Next jam coming up, we've got 3-3 Full Tilt and 1-6-0 Rosa Lethal on those jam lines. They're getting started here. Rosa Lethal's working their way up, Full Tilt on their feet still and trying to push towards the front. These are some amazing blockers here, but we also have some great offense there from 7-2 Storm, trying to separate those blockers out and make it a little easier for Full Tilt to get past them. Rosa Lethal is tiptoeing on that inside line, going around their blockers, and gets out of the pack first for lead jammer. Full Tilt going up into turn 3 with the rest of the pack, gets out on the inside line and completes their initial pass for scoring. But Rosa Lethal is already at the back of the pack and calls off the jam after scoring a couple of points. That is 3 points for Rosa Lethal, giving the Vampires a 144-119 lead. Heading into Jam 16, we're seeing number 4, Killer B for the Vampires, and 313 Black Diamond for the Zombies. I can read, I promise. Oh, just kidding. Rosa Lethal actually had to report to the box, so it is actually a power start for Black Diamond. And they take advantage of that pretty quickly and get out of that pack for lead jammer. And I did not see what the penalty was on Rosa Lethal there, but unfortunately that gives you a power start. Rosa Lethal standing, meaning they have only 10 seconds left in their penalty before they can re-enter. But Black Diamond has already scored 4 points and is going in for a second scoring pass. Rosa Lethal back on the track, box is empty. And both jammers are now starting to try and score some points. Black Diamond out for another 4. Pack is still in turn 3, holding on to Rosa Lethal. And that is Radioactive in the back, leading Rosa Lethal on the recycle. Black Diamond out of the pack once again for another 4 points. Pack still in turn 3 as Black Diamond gets recycled to the back. Now, even though if you get recycled, it doesn't mean you don't score any of those points. If you pass the person, woo, you will get those points. Quick tabletop motion there, trying to get 616, who is our new jammer, out, but is unsuccessful. Black Diamond scores another 4 points, calls off the jam, and we're heading into Jam 17. You can see in that top right corner of your screen there, we've got 2 different countdowns, one countdown and 1 count up happening. The countdown is our period clock. The count up is the time clock in between jams. And then once the jam starts, you'll see that it starts going into a count down from 2 minutes, and that's the jam timer. Less than a minute in this game, and we've got number 365 Phoenix and number 4 Killer B jamming. Number 4 Killer B gets lead jammer. But Phoenix is already out of the pack and ready to start scoring points. Killer B's coming up on the top, gets 1, 2, 3, 4 points for Killer B, and they are out of the pack already. Phoenix has made their way back into the pack to start scoring. Ooh, gorgeous inside line work for another 4 for Phoenix. Killer B is coming up through the pack, trying to find some holes in those blockers. We're not really seeing a tripod there, and Killer B is taking advantage of it for another 4 points. Phoenix gets hit out on that inside line, recycles back behind Stitch, goes in for another attempt. Ooh, finds it on the inside line and gets all the way through. Both jammers are out for another 4 points each. We're looking at 152 to 143, or 156 to 143. It's a 13-point game. And that is your unofficial score. As soon as you hear that whistle roll one more time, that is the end of their juniors. We'll see you back at 8 o'clock Mountain Time for the adults game. We've got Zombies versus Zombie Hunters in a black and orange teams. I have been Mads Kills. This is the Denver Roller Dome. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.